Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our workshop meeting here on the 8th of October. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Commissioner Marker.
Present.
Deputy Vice Mayor Long.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cassell.
Here.
Commissioner Burns.
Here.
Mayor Carney.
Here. Thank you.
Oh, sugar, sorry. It's my niece.
Sorry?
My phone was buzzing. It was my niece. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you all being with us today. And the purpose of this meeting is to simply provide an opportunity for the City Commission to prepare its specific thoughts, review considerations as to expectations of goals and objectives for Delray Beach in terms of educational outcomes for the public schools based in our community. Initially, we were working to engage with leadership from the school district of Palm Beach County to outline and summarize our expectations in this regard. However, consensus exists to have a collective discussion so that we can get to the place of offering a deliverable and discernible message to the Palm Beach County School District in these regards. Education and External Opportunities Manager Janai Bowens, along with Assistant City Manager Jeff Orris, will likewise provide a presentation that will assist the City Commission in achieving its direction as outlined. And from there, I think a great deal of information will be provided and clarified. Nevertheless, an opportunity for direction as we continue this particular dialogue and focus. Ms. Bowens, I believe I'd like to begin with you, followed by Assistant City Manager Jeff Forrest, if you would, please.
Sure.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Good afternoon. Janai Bowens, Education and External Opportunities Manager. Here to provide proposed education goals for program year 2024-2025. I don't think the clicker is working.
Try to keep
Oh,
over.
keyboard. Sorry.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Ms. Bowens.
Is this the same presentation we had, or are we just looking at the same first
It's
slide?
the same design. It's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
The one we had last month? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
June.
just the same
Thank you.
design,
Okay.
different content.
Good.
Okay, it's not
I
working.
have that one here.
Impressive.
Huh?
I said impressive.
Got a lot of questions.
May we have some assistance in terms of
We're not getting to it today.
This one isn't working.
Thank you.
Okay, so the purpose is to inform the Delray Beach Commission and residents of the status of Delray Beach Public Schools, including programming and performance data and its implications. Also, I will inform the City Commission of School District of Palm Beach County instructional improvements to support Delray Beach Public Schools and to propose direction regarding education goals, as well as the direction of the Education Board's composition and ordinance. I'm going to begin with going over Delray Beach Schools' choice and career programming. Currently, Delray Beach has 23 choice programs across 6 schools. Orchard View and Pine Grove are the only 2 schools in Delray Beach without choice programming. The students within each of the choice programs have the opportunity to gain industry certifications and credentials in order to make them more profitable in entry-level positions. There are 15 career and technical education programs among 4 different Delray Beach schools. Within these programs, students obtain industry certifications in specialized areas, which allow them to enter into the workforce within that industry. So the students must pass industry certification exams in order for them to receive the credentials. Currently, Atlantic High School has a partnership with the city through the Eagles Nest program. And Carver Middle has a partnership with Waste Management and the City of Delray Beach's Police Department, which provides 2 full-time officers for their criminal justice programs. Delray Full Service is operating as an adult education site and community school. They're currently offering recreational programming and trade certificate courses. Their most enrolled program currently is the ESOL program. So it's very important that we get the information out to the community regarding all of the programs that they offer. In the future, they will be including hospitality and culinary, cosmetology, and IT. In terms of Delray Beach school data, 5 of our Delray Beach schools have increased in their school grades. So the school grade considers the following components. It includes student achievement scores. So this includes the FAST assessment and the end of course exams. It also includes learning gains. So that's the amount of students that were able to move within achievement levels as well as subcategories in those achievement levels. It also includes middle school acceleration. So that's our students' exposure to high school and college credit courses. It also includes the graduation rate and the college and career acceleration. So those courses that you saw in the previous slide that showed the career and technical education exams, once those students pass those industry certifications, it does go towards the school grades. Another important data factor is the Delray Beach kindergarten readiness scores. So what we have here is the 2023 kindergarten readiness scores for fall, and it's also in comparison with the fall 22 kindergarten readiness scores. Now, kindergarten readiness, this assessment is an early predictor of literacy skills for students that are entering into Delray Beach public schools. It does assess their foundational literacy skills, so sound, print, awareness, and things of that nature. The test takes place at the beginning of the year for all incoming kindergarten students. And I also put a separate set of data, which includes the Delray Beach's VPK providers and their readiness rate. So this data was pulled from the Florida Department of Education's Early Learning Center, and it assesses the students that are in VPK within Delray Beach, how ready will they be for the kindergarten readiness, for kindergarten with their particular assessment. So the general information that I really want to pull from these two data sets is the difference in comparison to the fall 2023 data for the kindergarten readiness and our scores for the students that are in VPK. In Palm Beach County, students that are enrolled in a VPK program are 50% more likely to be kindergarten ready than students that are not enrolled in VPK programs. So what you see here with our Delray Beach schools, this is a combination of students that did attend VPK as well as students that did not attend VPK. So you can see that in some of our subsets we have lower numbers, whereas if you look at the VPK chart, we're pretty consistent in developing those kindergarten readiness skills within the students that attend these early learning centers. And third grade reading scores, again, is another key component in terms of our students' academic success and proficiency. So the third grade reading scores is an important measure of a student's future academic success and opportunities. It does dictate grade promotion, especially in third grade. If you do not pass the test, you will be retained. Also, it's an indicator of academic success and acceleration. So will our students be ready for those acceleration courses, which includes the industry certification, the IB, the Cambridge programs, the ACE programs, all of which our schools provide. It also is a determinant of high school graduation and college and career readiness, which in turn affects our workforce development opportunities. All of our schools in Delray Beach, in Delray Beach, for the third grade reading performance have increased from last school year of 2022-2023 to the current school year of 2023-2024. So we do see upward trajectory of our students in terms of the third grade reading scores.
Can we ask questions as we go, just because we're on that slide? Can you tell us what you might attribute that to?
Yes, actually, I'm going to attribute it in a second. It's a lot of increases in terms of student performance partially, not partially, but mainly due to the improvements of the school district. So if you look at the school district's their 5-year strategic plan, literacy, kindergarten readiness, third grade reading is a top priority. So they have made significant investments in the curriculum, as well as teacher development and training, as well as just holistic wraparound support for the schools in order for them to see this type of positive trajectory from one year to the next.
Thank you. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
If I may jump in as well, one of the interesting things is this has been one of those areas we focused on for quite some time as the
Right.
city. And this is really one of the first times we're seeing some significant gains in it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And this data set is for the 2024 ELA and math learning gains. This is another data point. So with learning gains, it's really important because it shows how many of our students have moved between one achievement level or one subcategory in an achievement level to another achievement level. So again, it does show positive improvement within our students. So, whereas a student could be deemed a level 1 in terms of reading proficiency, if they score a level 2 the following year or a level 3, that increases or contributes to the learning gains. So what we see here is the difference between the ELA learning gains as well as the math learning gains for all of our Delray Beach public schools.
By the way, your learning gains is not necessarily proficiency. It's just how you did over the year before.
It's not proficiency, but yes.
That's
it's not
what I thought. Go
proficiency.
ahead.
And then finally, our Delray Beach average graduation rate from 2019 to 2023. We have here Atlantic High School has a 93% average graduation rate, and Village Academy has 100%. So we know that Village Academy is a small school continuum. So numbers do play a factor in these in this data set. However, both Atlantic and Village are outperforming Palm Beach County's average graduation rate, which is 90%. So in the next section, I'm going to go over the school district curriculum and improvements. The reason why this is important is because within our City of Delray Beach comprehensive plan, it does show what our relationship with the school district should be in terms of policy direction, and my role in really merging what the city desires in terms of direction and what the school district is supposed to do in terms of our relationship and our collaboration. So our objective within our comp plan is to continue to strengthen relationships with the school district of Palm Beach County and Palm Beach School Board by doing the following. So maintaining an open dialogue like what we're doing here in terms of critical information that's concerning our Delray Beach Public Schools. Also, reviewing the district's 5-year plan on an annual basis and aligning the city's efforts. We're also supposed to be involved in their school advisory committee forums and working in concert with the 1 cent sales tax for school renovation and modernization projects. So I'm going to be updating, what the school district has provided in terms of their improvements and their investments as it applies to these policies. So in order to assist with our kindergarten readiness rates, the district has launched a transition to kindergarten campaign. There are readiness kits distributed to incoming students during the spring registration, as well as to the parents in multiple languages. Now, this is done in order to get our students ready for kindergarten by reviewing these kits and really creating a parental engagement regarding what our students are supposed to know upon them entering into kindergarten. They've also launched the Principals Read program, where principals visit local feeder VPKs, which includes our Delray Beach VPK providers, so that they can read and leave a book with the class in order to foster literacy awareness. There are pre-K parent engagement events, ambassador programs, as well as the Unlock the Power of 15, which is a collaborative project with the district, the Early Learning Coalition, Children's Services Council, the Palm Beach County Library System, and the Literacy Coalition. In terms of Pine Grove Elementary and Village Academy's Head Start program, so currently there are 184 seats in Delray Beach within the 2 sites. There are 168 Head Start students ages 3 through 4 enrolled in these programs. These programs provide comprehensive services So these are wraparound services that are meant to help behaviorally as well as with parental engagement. This includes child health screenings, community partnerships with healthcare district and Families First, where our families and our students receive health and mental health services. And then special needs students contribute to 10% of the student population, so they also receive wraparound services. Village Academy is currently operating as the largest Head Start program in the district. It's the only school providing early Head Start services. Village Academy also provides wraparound services, which includes health and nutrition to the students and the families being served, mental health and counseling services, childcare services that is provided by the Achievement Centers, community engagement, which is supported by the West Atlantic Redevelopment Coalition, where they provide migrant services, Village Readers Literacy Coalition, and the Caregiving Youth Program. And there's additional curriculum in terms of tutoring that's done through Achievement Centers and Roots and Wings. The district has also invested in a phonics initiative. So this is to help with the grade level reading proficiency. After doing a root cause analysis, the district understands that the primary cause of our students not being able, well, one of the many systematic causes of our students not being able to read on grade level includes phonic awareness and phonemic awareness. So to invest in those early foundational skills, the school district of Palm Beach County has invested in programming, which includes iReady, as well as a University of Florida Lassinger Center grant, which provides professional development to all teachers within the Delray Beach area on phonics awareness and phonics instruction to provide to our students. They've also invested in a new math initiative, which includes Conmigo. It's an AI powered tool, which our students have. It provides math assistance and math instruction as well. The district has also been supportive of acceleration opportunities. So currently, Carver Middle School and Atlantic High School are feeder schools. Carver has the Cambridge program, which feeds into the IB program. And again, it contributes to the acceleration opportunities where our students are able to have those higher level courses, which they're able to graduate with high school courses and college credit courses once they graduate from high school. In terms of the sales tax and things that the school district is doing with the dollars designated to Delray, there are a couple of facility renewal projects, which includes Atlantic Community High School. That is scheduled to start in 2025. Banyan Creek Elementary, their facility renewal projects is starting currently. Carver Middle School's facility renewal projects were completed in June of 2021. Murakami, although it's not technically considered a Delray Beach school, it is still within Delray Beach. Their facility renewal project was completed in 2023. As well as Orchard Views. Pomosa School of the Arts, their facility renewal project, which is the expansion of the middle school, is set to begin in 2025. SD Spady was completed in 2021, and Village Academy's facility renewal project is set to begin in 2025. Pine Grove Modernization Project is currently underway, so they have opened their new site. Phase 2 will begin in 2025, which is where they're going to demolish the current building and build a new parking lot for staff and visitors. And then there's Delray Full Service. So phase 1 of Delray Full Service was completed in April 2024. So this included the construction of the medical center, the construction lab, IT lab, classrooms, community center, and Pearson Testing Center. Old Pomosa School of the Arts, the site restoration is currently in progress. They also completed their K-8 expansion, which was completed in 2021. And then Village Academy has a kitchen construction start date, which is planned for 2025. So I wanted to review our out-of-school community providers. So as I received direction about city-led initiatives to help support kindergarten readiness and grade level reading proficiency, I wanted to overview who our current out-of-school providers are that provide after-school and summer learning opportunities. So we currently have the Achievement Centers, Milagro Center, Dice of Pythagoras, and the City of Delray Beach. With Achievement Centers, they offer early learning programming to 147 children currently. Their after-school programming is over 3 sites, which includes the Achievement Center sites, Pine Grove, and Village Academy, where they support 640 students in after-school care. And their summer learning program, which again is across 3 sites, which includes their original location, Pine Grove and Village Academy, where they support 402 student participants. Milagro Center currently supports 50 students in their STARS program, so that's their K through 5th grade students. Their Junior Teen Leadership program with 65 students being served. Their Teen Leadership program, which includes 60 students, and their Junior and Teen Summer Camp, which has 175 students. Dice of Pythagoras, they offer 3 different sites, which is the Boys and Girls Club, or participation in 3 different sites where they host 15 students, Carver Middle School, where they have 15 students, and then Plumosa School of the Arts, where they serve 15 students. And then at Pompey Park, in our current aftercare program, we have 31 students that are being served and 104 students that are being served in the summer program. I wanted to also include the Children's Services Council. So when we discuss direction regarding possibly expanding summer learning or after-school care programs, Children's Services Council is one of our primary funders in Delray. So we have over $1.42 million spending in the Healthy Beginnings program. So there are different programs that are listed here that support quality learning and life for our students and for our residents. So they provide lots of money to Delray Beach. I've worked with Children's Services Council to break down a lot of the programs that are included here and how many of our families are being serviced by Children's Services Council, and compare it to their spending amount. A lot of families could use the support. So I think like creating an awareness of what the Children's Services Council does, the types of programs that they do offer and support in Delray Beach would be very beneficial for our residents here, because they also offer scholarships for VPK attendants, early learning providers, after school care programs. So to the families that can't afford it, CSC does offer spending for that. And this section will be to clarify the Education Board ordinance. So according to our comp plan, in the comp plan, we are to maintain an education board that consists of residents, businesses, and educational professionals, as well as local students, to advise the City Commission of educational issues, also to provide policy direction and to create, host, and promote programming and events that support local educational efforts. So there was a restructuring of the education ordinance to include diverse stakeholders and high-level stakeholders to the board. Direction was received from the previous commission to analyze the effectiveness of the current education board, the composition, and its duties. So I did collaborate and receive feedback from the current education board members regarding the qualifications of the members. And those qualifications were presented June 4th by Dr. Reiko Knight, which is the education board chair. The assessment to reduce the board, one of the main changes was the reduction of the board membership. And the assessment to reduce the board membership was just to align with the other City of Delray Beach boards. Currently, the education board has the largest board membership. So proposed changes to the education board includes appointing 7 regular members with the following qualifications. So it's a move to have an appointed early childhood expert or professional, an executive director of an educational nonprofit organization located in Delray Beach, a Delray Beach business professional that offers internships and workforce development opportunities, a Delray Beach educator or administrator currently employed with the school district of Palm Beach, a higher education or adult ed professional serving Delray Beach residents, a mental and behavioral health professional, and parent, legal guardian, or student enrolled at a public school within Delray Beach. So this is just to ensure that all stakeholders are at the table when deciding policy direction and initiatives for Delray Beach education. There were changes to the proposed Delray Beach board duties to expand their reach. So some of those changes included analyzing the status of education in Delray Beach, including programs and opportunities from early childhood to post-secondary college and career options, as well as making recommendations for the development and improvement of these programs in Delray Beach. Another board duty would be to formulate a 3-year strategic plan, which shall be reviewed and updated every 3 years to promote improvement to K-12 education, post-secondary education, and career programs, as well as to recommend opportunities to collaborate with community and county-based agencies, Delray Beach businesses, nonprofits, and professional organizations to support education and workforce initiatives. And finally, one of the last board duties would be to analyze workforce data that includes employment rates, wages, and career opportunities, and propose recommendations regarding programs and partnerships based on these findings. So in terms of my direction as staff, the first move in understanding all of this and understanding the district's support and their improvements and changes to curriculum and changes to their wraparound services, as well as where we stand within our Delray Beach comp plan, it would be to move to create an education master plan. And so this is one of the objectives in our comp plan. I don't think that an education master plan was adopted since the comp plan's publishing. And so a part of that would be to, again, within that master plan, align the efforts of the city as well as the district's 5-year strategic plan. So it would really be to focus on the priority areas regarding Delray Beach Public Schools. So identifying the problems that we have in our schools, using our school data and our needs assessments, creating an action plan, designing the strategy for what we want to do moving forward or the direction in which we would like to go into, as well as a plan of implementation and how we would continuously assess the progress of these initiatives. So some of the education priority areas based on the data would of course be kindergarten readiness and ensuring that there's an early investment into kindergarten readiness and access to quality learning for our families here in Delray Beach. Our second key priority area would be grade level reading. So ensuring that as a city, that we can look for funding for quality after school and summer learning programs here, as well as collaborate with the school district of Palm Beach County to align what they're doing in terms of their curriculum with what we're providing our students in our out of school time programming. And our third key priority area would be to encourage post-secondary pathways. So of course, in our comprehensive plan, and when we look at economic prosperity, we want to provide our residents with access to post-secondary educational opportunities, as well as to access to career and technical education pathways in college and career readiness. So some things that I can do, of course, as staff in terms of direction to ensure that these key priorities are at the forefront is to raise awareness of the importance of early learning and voluntary pre-kindergarten programs. Also, it would be to increase enrollment in these quality programs and coordinate with the Delray Beach early learning providers to make sure that I am always in communication with any of their upcoming initiatives. For grade level reading, it would be best to organize and support summer reading programs throughout the community to increase third grade reading proficiency, as well as to seek local, private, and donor funding for our summer learning and aftercare programs within the city of Delray Beach to expand those opportunities. For post-secondary success, it would definitely be in the benefit of the city to develop business partnerships with our Delray Beach businesses that will provide internship and externship opportunities. And of course, this is going to increase our workforce development, as well as advocating continuously for programming at Delray Full Service that align to our industry needs. So some things that I've already started in order to kind of champion those priorities is an excellence in education campaign and a workforce development opportunities program. So our latest spotlight on excellence really is for the community to understand what our schools are doing with their choice programming. So how many choice programmings we have to offer, the career and technical education programs that we have to offer, just to draw in more enrollment. It's to show a steady showcase of students, educators, and principals and what they're doing at each of our Delray Beach schools on a monthly basis. Also, I have started workforce development career industry tours in collaboration with the Delray Beach Chamber and the School District of Palm Beach County. Our students were able to visit the automotive industry, which you see here in a few pictures. We collaborated with Atlantic and Village Academy, and they went out to the industry tours, and they saw firsthand what the automotive industry here in Delray Beach had to offer. The next career tour will be in healthcare, and that's scheduled for October 25th. Also, I've championed a youth in leadership initiative. We started with our Young Legislators Day, where the students came to City Hall to see the operations and the functions of City Hall and what we do in local government. And it is expanding to our Delray Beach Hacktivate event, which is scheduled for April 26, 2025.
I also want to add that those educational tours, if we've tried our best to coordinate them at the same time that we're having industry career fairs as well through our economic development division. That didn't work out well for healthcare just because of the timing with the end of classes, the beginning of school, and we had to get underway with that one. But we did do that with the auto tour, and Rob Evans, our economic development manager, has been working with Janai to try to make sure that those are happening simultaneously, so we're covering an entire industry at one time.
Great.
Do we need to go to the public?
I'm sorry?
Do we need to go to the public?
I mean, do we want to have public comment?
I thought we just
Well, we
changed our
did.
rules.
I didn't see it on my agenda.
It's
so
not
I-
on the
I'm-
agenda, but it's in the
So
rules.
It's in the rules.
it's in our rules, so members of the public, who state your name, address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Jim Chard. I live at 401 Southeast 4th Avenue, and I would like to ask for 6 minutes based on the experience I've had as the founder of Delray Simbers.
You may have 3.
Hang on one second. He's
Yes?
representing an organization.
Okay, that are here that are going to say that he can speak?
Well, do they have
That's
to
what
be
the
here?
rules say.
No, I thought if you're speaking
Go
for
ahead,
6
Jim,
people.
take 6.
Wait, I would like to. Thank you. There you are.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners, City Manager,
They have to be
City
here.
Attorney, and our staff from the leadership from the county. We have the regional superintendent and the head of instruction here with us, and we know they're all very busy people. I've been involved in education in Delray for about 20 years. I've gone to Delray, the Delray education teaching in the schools. I know every principal in every school. Raised tens of thousands of dollars through the bus shelter project. And I think my bottom line conclusion is we can do a lot better. I was glad to hear what Janai was saying, because I think she hit a lot of the points that I would hit. Certainly the fact that we do not have a plan, I think, is unacceptable. I don't think we need to take 3 years to get a plan. I do think that we really don't have any goals. What I did see, and thank you, Janai, that there is work on improving VPK. There is work on improving grade level reading and post-secondary pathways. I didn't see any goals. I think kindergarten readiness for Pine Grove is around 20%. Janai's numbers are a little bit different than we got from Edmund Ferguson a month or two ago. I didn't see any goals for grade level reading. And right now, for example, as I understand it, about 50% of our graduating students are job or college ready. 50%. Think about that for a little bit. What are the other 50% kids doing? If they're not job ready, they're not college ready. And just up the road, South Tech has about 98% job ready or college ready. We don't have goals. We don't have a plan. Hopefully we'll have one shortly. But we should really say that we are for excellence in Delray Public School System. Excellence. I did see the word once up there that we're recognizing individuals. But the results should be excellent too. We should be, for our families, our children, our grandchildren, the best in Palm Beach County. That was 3, right? Okay. And I think it starts with usins here. I think it starts with the city. The prior commission more or less said, well, that's all the county. You know, I've talked to some of the county. I've talked to Dr. Burke. Dr. Burke? Mr. Burke.
Lockhart.
Dr. Lockhart.
But you're talking about the superintendent. That's
I'm talking about the top superintendent. Okay. So,
Mr. Burke.
and the county has over 200 or so schools, 188 schools, that they have to look after. They have something like 39 cities. If my number's off a little bit, forgive me, but they're in around order of magnitude. We need to be able to work with the county and tell the county what our needs are. I think that's what Boca did 10 years ago. I think that's what Wellington is doing. I think the results speak for themselves. I think that's happening in other cities. We don't do that. We get into the weeds here and get lost on where we're really going and why we're here, what the real objective is. We want children to come back to Delray and have good jobs here and contribute to the wonderful city that we have. We want to keep families here that have children and make sure that when they leave a certain level of grade, that they stay in our system. They don't go to South Tech or Boca High or other schools. We want to have that excellence here, and we can do that. And I think that this commission can make that happen. Now, one of the ideas that I certainly support, and I've heard others, is we need to work more with the not-for-profits. Unfortunately, the not-for-profits are leaving this town. EJS is leaving. KOP Mentoring is leaving. The Chamber just did the annual education breakfast for, I don't know, maybe the 20th time. And they offered to be able to help on things like internships and working with students. I did not see that mentioned at all up there. But I think that that is one resource. The other thing is, I'll bet when we all went to school, our parents were really involved. The teachers came to our homes. The parents went to teacher school night, told them how your grades were doing and how you were acting out in class. It's harder now. It's harder with a community that we have, where we have single parent households. We have grandmothers and grandfathers raising children. We have multiple families in one place. But that shouldn't be an excuse. That should just be an opportunity to work harder for reaching excellence on 4 or 5 major goals that have numbers associated with them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chard.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Cynthia Ridley. I live at 210 Northwest 2nd Avenue, Delray Beach. And I love your presentation. My first time hearing you really speaking, really did a good job and kind of sparked me a little bit as well. I lived in Delray and I used to own a child care center, Ridley Temple Child Care Center for years until I left the business. But my thing is, I heard you about the education piece with the kindergarten boxes. And I'm hoping that there's a lot of child care centers are in our community. And I don't know how we partner with those local child care centers, because I only see sometimes we focus on one child care center in our community. And there's a lot more child care centers in our community that has not been reached. And we got plenty of children who live in parents in this community. And some of them paying money out their pockets to making sure their child is placed somewhere, because it's about capacity as well with all child care centers. So I'm hoping as a partner that we reach out to some of the local child care centers and see how we can help them, making sure that some of those parents are getting some of those boxes that you just talked about as well, because I think that's very important that some of those boxes, we form a partnership to do that as well with these local child care centers. Thank you.
Mr. Orris, you want to jump in there?
Mr. Mayor, one of the things I did want to share with the commission that I think right now we're at an excellent turning point on where we're going with our education program. I think we have a position, and Janai's doing just a great job of reaching out to the schools and to the school district and to the nonprofits. Excuse me. And I think she really has her finger on the pulse of what's going out there. And I think now's a great time for us to look at this program overall and figure out how we can really make a difference moving forward. And I think you heard in her presentation a couple of those areas where we might be able to affect immediate change. We heard that VPK really is a difference, and we know that the word about scholarships for VPK and such aren't getting out. We can certainly help with that, as well as looking at where we're spending our limited education dollars, or the city's program, on where we might have the biggest bang for the buck moving forward. Education has changed significantly. We had, Janai did a program, a youth and government program. Some of you participated in that. We heard the students themselves coming forward saying their most important aspect of school right now is mental health. When I was in school, that was never a question. Mental health was suck it up, buttercup, move on. It's a different world for the kids today.
It worked for you.
It worked fine for me. It may not work so well for the kids today. They have different challenges. They've been exposed to different things. We need to turn in the direction of where can we make the biggest bang for the buck change on things. So I applaud that you're having this discussion, and that that Janai's been able to provide some insight into where we have some opportunities. And I hope we can really set some great directions, and along with what Mr. Chard said, set some goals for ourselves to really, so that the public is clear on what the city wants to do, and we can use that to involve the public some more as well.
You know, I appreciate everything that you said, and I agree that the goals, and I'm hoping that with the result of this conversation and some others that we're going to have, we're going to actually achieve some goals, because my whole position has been, we have to be able to tell the school board, and by the way, I'm beyond the school board in my caring for what goes on with education. I'm talking about all schools. Anybody, you know, I noticed you had a couple of the privates on there, but all of them are we're hand in hand with all of them in terms of providing education. And I know you've answered some of the questions that I wrote to you on October the 2nd, which was shared with the class on October the 3rd. And but you know, there are some issues that I still wanted to get out, and I think I sent you some more stuff this morning with priorities that we need to do in order that we can better understand where Delray fits in the mold, because that's why I asked you the question. We're not really talking proficiency. The fact that you go from 68 to 69% in this, but if your proficiency is at 30 and you move to 31, that doesn't help. I'm glad we're moving in a positive direction, but it's still the proficiencies in many of these areas that I'm concerned about. And I wrote, I don't know that it's gotten to you yet, but like, for example, there's 6 items that I think I'd like to understand better so that I know how to address the school board. Because I want to know, for example, what is our enrollment compared to our capacity? Because we get funding based on enrollment vis-a-vis capacity. I mean, where are we in terms of our enrollment versus our capacity? How does our attendance measure up against, say, the best one of the public schools in Palm Beach County? I want to know what is our attendance ratio? Our disciplinary actions that we have vis-a-vis other places in Palm Beach County. I mean, we did a good job on kindergarten readiness, which I think is a huge part. But I don't know. I saw where we are in kindergarten readiness, but I don't know how that means how do we rate with other places in Palm Beach County? All right, I mean, and that's and our math and reading readiness. I saw, what you wrote, but how are we measured against, say, the best schools in Palm Beach County? Because I want to know why Delray isn't getting, why we're not getting the same kind of resources, if that's what the issue is, with some of these schools that are getting better results. Why we're not getting the same resources? I'm trying to get to why we're not getting the money that I think we deserve in order to really expand all these different programs that we're trying to do in Delray. And my last was essentially career and college readiness. I mean, you pointed out, we're having these programs which are great, but how do we compare with everybody else? So, I mean, these are all things that I'm trying to understand, because I want to know what to ask the school board for in terms of how do we get to where the number ones are. Because it's more than just, we have great effort being made. The city's working, these are new programs, everything's great. But we're still failing, that's the wrong word in academics, but we're still not doing what we should be doing in terms of getting all these kids ready for where they need to be. And this is where I'm trying to go. And I don't know what the answer is. I truly don't know what the answer is. I just know I'm not seeing the results that others are getting, and I don't know why. And I don't know what are we doing wrong? What's the school board doing wrong? I just don't know.
We had this conversation, I think it was in May, when I did a workshop meeting, May or June, about funding for Delray Beach Public Schools. And I went over the equalized funding structure that's provided by or overseen by Florida Department of Education, right? So
and we
all of
met
our
after
schools,
that in your office.
Yes, all of our schools receive the same amount of funding. That's why it's called equalized funding structure in terms of equity. So I think that when we paint a picture of where Delray Beach Public Schools are in comparison to, let's say, the Village of Wellington or some of these other areas that don't really deal with the systematic or the systemic issues that Delray Beach has, like in terms of affordable housing, food scarcity. We have a large transient population, a large Haitian American population. So they're not dealing with a lot of societal factors that we are dealing with in Delray Beach. So I think that in order for us to really understand where we need to be, we have to take into context what I like to call it getting on the balcony, and just really look at a large scale glance of where we are in terms of these different systems that we really don't take into account of in terms of education. So, a large part of education happens within the walls, but then a large part happens outside of the walls in terms of the factors that, these families are facing. So if we really want to move the needle with education, one, yes, it is to partner with the nonprofits. It is to reach out to the VPK providers and create a coalition, just to reach out to the business owners, and everything, and kind of create a coalition. But it's also really to assess our economic impact and where our economic trajectory in terms of the city, to see what it is that, what barriers these families are facing that are stopping them from getting from point A in terms of education to point B. So I really think, and of course that's a larger conversation. It's not something that we are going to hammer down in just one workshop meeting. I think it's a continuous conversation and a continuous investment in looking at all sorts of data, even calling in, the economic development manager to see where we are in terms of workforce development. I have the data, he probably has it on a larger scale, but where are we not meeting our families in terms of systems that are then impacting education?
I spend, when I do my Delray Reads, which unfortunately I can't do this year, I always choose to go out to Orchard View Elementary, but when you read there and you've got the kids in front of you, there's Haitian, there's Guatemalan, there's Dominican, they're all, and they have one thing in common: English is not spoken at home. So it's very hard for these kids, because Mr. Chard brought up rightfully, we were, where the parents are, these kids face an additional set of challenges. And when we talk about equalization programs of county spending, I think that needs to take into account special challenges that we have here, which are not being, in my view, adequately addressed.
Right. And I think that, Village Academy would be a good model for a continuous investment in things of that nature with their wraparound services. So they understand the population that they're meeting, so they've included more community resources for mental health, for behavioral health, like all of these things. So if we were to replicate that model of the wraparound services within each of our Delray Beach schools, I believe that we'll see, probably, positive advancements within all.
Because there's only like 60 students. I mean, what was their graduating class at Village?
They have a small
12?
graduating- Yeah, but it's a small school.
I understand. I understand. And
Still
in a
on a
smaller
small
school,
school,
it's
yeah.
always easier, in my view, to get.
To impact.
Correct.
Right. To create impact. But again, when you think of trying to address these barriers that are systematically our community is faced against, they do a good job in replicating that wraparound service model. And I also don't think that the community is aware of these wraparound resources that are available to them if they are facing some of these impacts that are contributing to the barriers within their education. So again, equity, access, and communication, even from the city level, I think those are some things, tangible things that we can do, like that's in our purview in order to assist.
And Mr. Orr has pointed that out.
I was just going to say, Janai and I speak often about these things, and we brainstorm what can we do, and we don't have a great budget for these things, but we look at what we can do. And one of the things we had a conversation about, well, what's really missing here? And it was the parents. So she found some resources that we sent out through our social media methods, just to get out there the word about, hey, parents, here's some resources for you. And one of the things we've talked about is in all of these areas we're talking about right now, one of the best ways we can help is just communicating that these VPK scholarships are available. People just aren't aware of them. Schools do what they can. The Children's Services Council does what it can, but the word's still just not getting out. So if we add our voice into it, maybe we reach some more of these people. That helps with minimal effort on our part, which is great. I mean, because we can do that right now as we're aware of these things. But this is just one of the simple things and one of the things that I think that Janai is really good at right now is facilitating the word getting out, facilitating one program working with another. It's not a lot of money on our part, it's effort, and she's done a great job with that. And I think we need to find more of those opportunities for us to facilitate putting groups with resources with people who need those resources.
And the reason why I did mention or add the Children's Services Council funding within within this presentation is because they spend a lot of money in Delray Beach. So when I ask parents, when I ask families, what is the main reason why their students are not enrolled in VPK? It's the cost. Because the state only provides 180 hours of free instruction. You have to pay after that. There's no parent, I don't think, right now in America that's working 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 where they can pick up their child in the middle of the school day, bring them back home, and then stay home with them. So you're looking for full day VPK programming. And the Children's Services Council provides money to low-income families to support them in a full day VPK or for any early learning provider. So a lot of parents didn't know this. They didn't know that there were scholarships available. They didn't know that there was supplemental financial assistance available for them to utilize. So what happens? The students their children are at home from ages 0 to 5, not really receiving any instruction, no kindergarten readiness. They're home with grandma, they're home with mom, they're home with an adult who can supervise them. So I think that as a community and as a city, leveraging the voice and the funding of what the children, it's tons besides the Children's Services Council. There are lots of grants and opportunities for our families to tap into where they can access this funding and enroll their kids into quality VPK or early learning centers.
Yeah, I'm going to defer because the VPK is going to be, if you have the VPK all the way up the stream, you do better. I mean, you don't worry about your third grade reading because they're coming in, ready, willing, and able to perform and do their stuff. So I'm a big proponent. I'm dominating here, and I don't mean to. Mr. Commit.
You are dominating.
I am. It's true. It's true. But I'm saying good things.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
You guys get started. I'll go with you.
You want to let Mr. Marker go?
Yeah, sure. Some comments and some quick questions. In preparing for this meeting, I had a long conversation with my daughter, my oldest daughter, who teaches second grade, inner city Chicago public schools. And a lot of the problems that we're talking about here are also embedded in the Chicago public school system. My daughter has 29 kids in her class. 5 do not speak English, and she does not have an aide. And as you were talking about this pre-K learning, that resonated with her because she gets so many kids at second grade that aren't at the right level. And, you know, I just would be curious, like, when you talk to the parents about the value of this, do they absorb how important it is that the kids be brought up to reading level before they start school?
Absolutely. They understand the importance, but again, and this is not to shift blame or anything like that, but you know, when we do talk about parental involvement, a lot of our parents here and a lot of our families here are working more than one job.
I know.
Right? It's very
I know.
expensive to live in Delray Beach right now.
Yep.
So they want to be a part, but they can't sometimes
Yep.
because of access.
a big
So again, like what Jeff said, I talk to the schools often. So we try to strategize about how we can leverage accessibility. So maybe that includes going virtual, you know,
Yeah.
providing these resources virtually, providing them in the morning and in the evening. And so, and the schools, they do a lot of that. They do a lot of kind of like restructuring what they do in order to meet the needs of the parents. But even when they do restructure sometimes in that day, the parents are unable to attend because of the jobs that they are working. So again, as a city, I think we have to think innovatively about how we can continue to invest in early learning and invest into our families. If that means me coming out on a Saturday to host a VPK awareness fair, I'll do that. If that means doing it on a Sunday, I'll do that. But just really to have the commission's support in order to leverage those type of opportunities, because we have to meet the parents and the families where they are.
Absolutely. Spot on. Second is a question. There were very wide swings in some of the data that you showed year to year. What drives those really wide swings? I mean, there were 20 and 30-point swings.
The
Is
work
that
of the
COVID?
teachers. The work in terms of like increasing proficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, the work of the district, the work of the teachers, the work of the school leaders. I think it's just like really working in collaboration with each other. I sat down with every principal in Delray once the grades were released, and I asked them what were some things that they did. I recently sat down with Rhonda Smith from Plumosa, who went from a C to an A, and her grade level proficiency is a large part of that. And so she talked about investing in her educators. So within one of my courses in my Ed Leadership program, we talked a lot about data and statistical analysis for what moves students, right? So a lot of people think that, small group interventions or tutoring, after school tutoring or anything like that. The real, according to statistics and tons of studies, student-teacher relationships is what drives positive trajectories in terms of proficiency.
Yep.
Rhonda Smith is a principal that understands that clearly. So what does she do? She invests in her teachers. And that means just in terms of morale. So if they feel value and they feel like they're being invested in by the district and by their principal, in turn, they invest that same energy into their students. And so really, she said it sounds simple, but that is really the only shift that she really did in order for her to see such swing, upwards trends in her student data.
Okay.
And so, she was able to pour into them with professional development, trainings, and, things of that nature, which really made an impact on her overall proficiency data. So.
Gotcha. That's helpful. And then just two more really quick things. Does the county have access to the private school data? I'm seeing a head shaking no. So that we don't, it doesn't, no one shares.
Can they answer? Yeah.
If you could come to the lectern and give your name so we know who you are.
And you're going to give her an appearance fee, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Hi, Rachel Capitano, South Region Office. No, any data from private schools that we would have access to would be listed on the Florida Department of Education website, which is exactly where Ms. Bowens pulled her data from.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last thing, Mr. Chard, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you said.
He's gone.
I think, I think
He just
Oh,
shifted.
sorry,
I know,
Mr. Chard, you moved.
he tries
see
to
him.
move around. and throw
We look at we look
We're
at
on to you,
He's got to
Chard.
take a walk.
You were there though. You were there. So.
But Jim, you summarized my thinking perfectly. We need metrics. We need objectives. I mean, that's how we're going to improve. So I'm really glad you brought it up, and I think we need to embrace what you said to us. So thank you.
Okay. Yes. Commissioner
So
Burns.
I just, Janai, thank you. You just spread out everything that I would have said. So thank you for the presentation, and you summed it up very well. I do agree with Ms. Chard about the master plan is a great idea, and then some goals so that we know what our expected outcomes. What do we want out of it? So I think that setting some goals so that we know what those outcomes are is a great path. But as you have said, and the Mayor asked a question, some of our more affluent communities are not facing the same factors that our students in our schools in the, if you want to call it, the inner city. Having been an educator for 34 years and working at Village Academy for 22 years and seeing firsthand the families. I mean, I grew up in Carver Park, so I was teaching the children of my classmates. I was teaching children of my neighbors. And these children come to school with so much baggage that children should not have to come to school with. And the parents are burdened with working 2 jobs to try to pay rent. At Village Academy alone, our enrollment at the time that it was like 800. We had 114 homeless children. So the kids are facing all kinds of things, and there are barriers. And we need to address those barriers so that we know. And then, you talk about giving parents the kits. Well, the parents need to be taught and instructed how to use those kits. And that's not good, just to give a kit doesn't help. So, and that brings another point up of why some of the Haitian community wants that center so badly, because that is the place where they would get to work with parents who do not speak English. And the center could service other communities that do not speak English so that they could get that training that they need. Their children could get what they need. They're hardworking people. They want success for their children. But, the powers to be with rent, food, people are working 2 and 3 jobs to try to just make ends meet. So it's a struggle. So there are lots of factors that play into the success of what our children are experiencing in school. One of the things I wanted to say is also that center would also provide like a cultural diversity that we are missing in our schools, in our community, and working with our nonprofits to take and give that extended day. We really need to work with our nonprofits. The school district, as we always say, it takes a village, it takes a community to do this, and especially when we have communities that are experiencing barriers and factors that are beyond their control. So it takes all of us working together. And I wanted to say, there was another question that I had. I know it's about money, but it should not be. But we're only servicing 31 children we need more children in these programs.
Yes. And I asked the rationale about why we're only serving. So Pompeii comes with a cost.
Everything comes with a cost.
So like Achievement Center, their students don't pay to attend the aftercare in the summer program. I think it's the same for Milagros, the same for Boys and Girls Club. So what we're seeing, we're a little different. I think for residents, it's about $530 annually to attend the aftercare and summer learning program. And for non-residents, it's upwards of $750 a year. So that's a huge difference in between our nonprofit partners that are free of charge versus what we're charging here at the city. We used to operate 4 sites, including the community center. I think there was a site at Carver, and there was a site at Pine Grove. But after COVID, those sites were shuttered again because of the costs, and of course because of things that traditionally happened with COVID. We were only able to operate out of Pompeii, so the membership is dwindling. So I think that I'm sorry. I think that when we do talk about direction, we talk about the direction where it applies to our city services for out of school time, and then you can see I attached in one of the attachments was the operating costs and the budget, and there's a large difference between the nonprofit budgets versus the Pompeii budget. So I think that's also a factor. But again, like what Mr. Chard said, and what the sentiments of everyone, working with our nonprofit and our out-of-school partners is something that we can affect. It's something that we can have a direct hand in terms of what we can do on as a city in order to leverage kindergarten readiness and grade level reading proficiency. So if we have, let's say, over the course of all of these nonprofits, we have about, if you have 400 in this program and that we have about thousands, like 1,000 students that we can impact. So if we were to coordinate curriculum, so if, for example, if the school district of Palm Beach County has invested in phonics, they've invested in math. If we take those same curriculum and we double dose it in our out of school time, we'll be able to really make gains in terms of the students' exposure to grade level curriculum. So when we do think of initiatives and objectives, I definitely think that should be would love to receive direction on how we can expand on those services to reach those students that we have while they're in our care. I've already started working with the Achievement Center. I have the lovely Jaleesa here about coordinating curriculum because she has a large amount of our students that attend our Delray Beach public schools, but about enriching and creating, more of an academic focused environment instead of recreation. Well, a healthy dose of both, but really giving our students that grade level curriculum so that they can have those foundational reading and math skills when they enter back into the schools.
Okay. And that is very important to have those foundational skills. As the mayor said, when they have the basics, then you don't have to worry about those years afterwards. And those wraparound services, as I said, having been working at Village for 20-something years, those wraparound services really do make a difference. And as you said, Jeff, the social and emotional issues are real, and they have to be addressed. And the district does have a program that addressed that, but that needs to spill out in the community as well. I think that's about it. One of the things I heard, as I've learned as a teacher, that teacher-student relationship is paramount because programs don't teach children. Teachers teach children. So just excited about moving forward with this and looking forward to working with you to see, what I can do personally and as a commission to support education in the city of Delray Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Casal.
Yes. Can I just quickly ask the people from the school system, could you, the others, stand up and just say your name? I don't even know who's here, but I want to thank you for coming very much, actually.
Yes, so I'm Alicia Steiger. I'm the elementary instructional superintendent, and I oversee Banyan and Spady.
Thank you.
And that's it. Okay. Hi, good evening. Jennifer Sanders, instructional superintendent, and I supervise Plamosa and Village.
Thank you.
Anthony Lockhart, and I supervise Atlantic Community High School and Carver Middle School.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to come back up. I supervise Orchard View and Pine Grove.
Thank you. And thank you for coming because this is important to us. I've been the most critical of the school system because we sit up here frustrated. We want to help our children. We want to help our residents, and we don't always know how to get there. And sometimes we feel like someone should just come here and tell us. And I realize it's not that easy. But thank you because I really appreciated this presentation a great deal. The information about VPK was interesting. And I think we did talk about statistics are important to me and the mayor as well. Do we know when the kids enter kindergarten, do we know how many kids, what percentage or a number that are not participating in the VPK?
No.
Okay, so we don't know how many are in VPK in our city, and then ultimately, okay. Because I think we could reach.
Can we get that data? Okay.
I'm curious if it's a very large number. I think we have to work on it either way, but I do have ideas. Going to the churches, perhaps, might be your best route to find people to help us spread the word, to get the people connected with the resources to get the kids in the VPK program, because I think that would benefit everybody. When you talk about the wraparound, is the Head Start considered a wraparound? The Head Start's programs are?
It starts at a wraparound.
Okay, so how can we get the Head Start in more than the 2 schools?
That's a good question. I mean, a part of our comp plan is to lobby for Head Start and VPK within all of our Delray Beach schools. So I think it's just, you know, having it as a conversation with the school district to see what the pathway is in order to establish VPK programs within each of the Delray Beach public schools.
Excellent. Now, do kids in school, I feel embarrassed asking this, I know, but I don't know, iPads? And do we have them having access to free internet, all of them?
So the referendum just invested into technology in all schools, not necessarily iPads.
Okay.
They have Chromebooks. They all
They
have
get a
Chromebooks.
Chromebook, and they get at-home Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi. I mean, do they have Comcast Access or some program? I know when we were at the literacy luncheon, Comcast does a lot. I just want to know, do all the kids have the same amount of access at home?
Interlocal agreements with different cities for Wi-Fi mesh. So
Okay.
in Delray, I wouldn't want to say with 100%
We did
certainty
something.
every child has it, but I know that there is local agreements here, but I would have to go and pull the data on it.
Thank you. I know we did something.
We
I
do.
just
We
wanna-
do. It's housed
Yeah.
in the Neighborhood and Community Services Department. The
Right.
broadband. I think it's the broadband.
Okay.
Agreement. But we do have
I
one.
know we did. I just don't know if everybody has full access. Yeah, could we
Yeah, I
find
can
that
have.
out?
Yep, I can find out the update.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So you got the iPads and the Wi-Fi question. The demographics are our biggest issue because we have such concentrations of poverty. And unfortunately, sorry guys, again. I was excited about Plamosa's jump from C to A. That's amazing. This is interesting because I was speaking to Mr. Burke, who's lovely, by the way. I said at the last meeting I would like to sit as the commissioner on the ed board, and I'm volunteering to do that because I think it's important that maybe a commissioner participate the way that a commissioner participates in the housing board. I would love to do that. I think with the ed board, I like how you are setting out standards because I think that creates a board that will be very, very effective. But I think maybe we should still have some open seats for parents or individuals in the community. And, I think we should maybe keep that board a little bit bigger.
Parents are included
Automatically,
in the new qualification. It's one of the qualifications is to be a parent in Delray
Right, but
Beach.
how many of them are you having? That seemed to
It
be
was-
one.
It was one. Yes,
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we're not talking about that so much today, but I'm contemplating.
Yeah, part of what you're going to see when I have my markup of the ordinance includes some of the things that Commissioner Gasal just said, because, I mean, you talk about having, a top professional, not-for-profit, the CEO, you're not going to get them. The reality is they're not going to have the time. I want somebody that is really going to.
I think that's my concern,
Be able
is
to
that the
invest the time.
commitment. And who's committed? Moms. That's what I'm saying. 'cause
So
I'm a mom.
we've had some executive directors of nonprofits currently on the board.
I mean, you've been
Yeah.
lucky so far.
Yeah.
You've been lucky so far.
You've had our local nonprofits, and they're committed because they're engaged in the process and they're part of it.
You
I
may be working that board harder than they're used to, though.
Right. I like the goals, the kindergarten readiness, the grade level reading, job or college readiness. I think that's probably where I'm thinking we need to go, and that will necessarily result in an increase in our scores across the board. But one thing I think is interesting that Mr. Burke and I were discussing, because I said, look, we just need to know how to get to where we're going. He said that at one point in time, Wellington approached the school board and said, we want to have all A schools. And he said, then that takes a commitment from your city. And I think that is the hard conversation that we need to have. How do we get there? And what is the school's system's level of commitment, and what is our level of commitment, and how long does it take? And if you could do me a favor, one of the things that I understand, I'm not making suggestions, and I know we're not even in a financial place to be talking about money, but in Wellington, the city guaranteed each school some amount of money, and there was a reason for it. And I'd asked him, I'd like to see when the residents came and said, this is what we want, A schools, what did they go back with? What was the result? How was that money spent? And what type of increase did they see? And I know we have a very different demographic than Wellington, but I'm just curious about how they did it, because it shows a potential path. Don't get nervous. I see your face. Don't get nervous. And another thing that you and I discussed, and I'm working on that with Ms. Johnson from the library, is how do we help supplement our children's education in the summertime, so that not only is there no learning loss, but so that we can help enhance the quality of that education in the following year. And I think that is something that when we say, what can we actually do up here, that is what we can actually do up here. And, we'll have to figure out how, through grants, maybe through the school, how we can get funding and how we can get this going. But I'm going to start working on that immediately with Ms. Johnson, because we're both very excited. So thank you all for your time and participation. I've very much appreciated this presentation. And I will say, I'm leaving this meeting feeling remarkably positive.
Thank you. Mr. Long.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Janai and Jeff. Really great presentation, really comprehensive. I know a lot of work went into it. It's really appreciated. And thank you to all the folks from the district who came tonight. Appreciate you guys being here, truly. And thanks also to Jim and Cynthia who spoke. You guys are our inaugural first public speakers for a workshop. This is really exciting, really exciting. But I think Jim, you really nailed it with your comments. I fully agree. I think this whole commission pretty much agrees with everything you said. I think we need to really focus on our nonprofits in Delray and how we can assist them. And I think DCEF is one of those, especially. We went to that breakfast recently. Me and Commissioner Burns sat in breakout sessions and got to hear from some of the folks from our school district and even some teachers. I want to circle back to some of those things. I wanted to go last, so I'm not saying redundant things, because I agree with pretty much everything my colleagues have said so far. I don't have anything revelatory to add. I just kind of want to sum up a few things. I think the point was well made that, what works in Boca and Wellington, the communities that we really want to sort of replicate, doesn't necessarily work for Delray Beach. We can't do apples to apples. We have different concerns here. We have kids here who have come from different backgrounds and have different issues that we have to really dig deep to address. But at the end of the day, I think increasing access for those students is going to be critical. Supporting our teachers is obviously going to be critical. How do we support that ecosystem that does that? And I think what we need to do is not only establish a strategic plan, which I think I think that's easy. We need to do that. But I think when we do meet, and by the way, I think it was a great idea to do this meeting the way that we did it. Initially, it was a little, hesitant, but I think that it was smart. It was wise for us to do it before we go and actually have a meeting with the district, so we can get our ducks in a row. And I think the conversation, I think it's critical the way that we address the school district, right? I think it needs to be help us help you. What can we do here? And I think that's been reflected by everything my colleagues have said too, is we should have some specific priorities that we'd like to bring to their attention, but it should also be like, what do you think? Tell us what we can do up here. How do we create that ecosystem in Delray Beach? I think we're all on the same page as it comes to that. One thing that did come up during that breakout session was that we do have a large percentage of Haitian American students who do have a language barrier issue. Their parents do as well. Some of them act as translators for their parents, which is really sad and such a burden on those students. So I do hope that we can. I know we're in kind of a holding pattern with that Haitian center that the county was going to help us with. I'm hoping after the elections and the Mac Bernard's successor, Bobby Powell, be willing to move forward with us on that front, because I think that could be crucial. But the other thing that maybe I'd love to talk to the district about when we have the opportunity, I've mentioned it to Edwin Ferguson before, is a dual language program, maybe at Pine Grove. I know we have a really successful one in Boynton Beach right now. I'd love to see if there's an opportunity to start that. It's something the Haitian community in Delray has been asking for a long, long time. And I'd love to see us move forward on that. After hearing from several teachers during that breakout session, they said there was a lot of Haitian students that struggle because the tests, they don't, they struggle to understand them. That's a crazy thing that I think we really need to focus on in our community. Anyway, the other thing I want to bring up that's kind of a little bit ancillary to this, but I'd be remiss not to bring it up since we're talking about things we want to address with the district, is the Delray full service. Yes. We're at an impasse right now. A lot of the community who's been deeply involved in that wants to keep Building 2. We heard about this from Edwin Ferguson when he came in. I know the district does not want to keep that building. They need it for parking. The community wants to keep it maybe for, I could think, some kind of medical training facility. And I know Commissioner Burns has been deeply involved in this issue. Maybe you can speak to it more eloquently than I can. But I just know that we are at an impasse right now. And I think that this is one of those times where the city, could hopefully speak with the community and then kind of get involved. This is our opportunity to try and frankly ameliorate this issue so we can keep moving forward with Delray full service and get started on that programming. So I'd like to see us figure out a pathway to addressing that. And I'd love to hear if you have anything to add there, Commissioner Burns, if you've had more recent conversations than I have. Sorry to catch you with a mouthful.
Didn't have any recent conversations, but the idea is the community would love to have some medical facility located within the community that's in walking distance. And with that being the technical center, the training, and the center could be on one campus would be a great marriage. So that's the idea behind that, to have a facility that people can walk to, villages right in the middle of the community, and then what better way to have the training right there on the campus and have a working training facility on the campus. And so that was the idea behind it. But I haven't had any recent meetings, but we've been meeting about this for a number of years, 10 years or more.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's an alternative location where something similar to that could be accomplished at the district. We're willing to talk to us about. I don't know, because it doesn't sound like Building 2 is going to be an option for whatever reason. But again, I want to hear from both sides on this and just figure out if there's some way we can move forward.
So a part of the Hacktivate event, Hacktivate Delray, that I referenced, it involves high schoolers from Achievement Center that attend Atlantic High School, Village.
Your
I'm sorry.
So the people at home can hear you.
I'm sorry. The Hacktivate event does, I collaborate with local youth from Village Academy and from Atlantic High School, but through Achievement Center's Youth Legislators Prep program. And so some of the things that they're doing within that Hacktivate event is they're meeting with city staff in order to develop solutions to community issues. So the students were able to come up with some of those community issues, one being food scarcity and lack of quality medical care that does in turn impact their education. So we're hearing it from the adult residents, and we're also hearing it from the young residents, the students who are really advocating for themselves and saying that they need more access, of course, to food and to quality grocers, as well as to quality medical care. So I think that it is a conversation worth entertaining. In any way that I can bridge that communication between the commission and the school district, I would love to.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we can figure out a path forward there. And the last thing I just want to touch on is our education board, because that's kind of been in this state of limbo for a minute, and I really want to figure it out. So I don't think adding more people to it's a great idea. I don't think bigger is always better with these boards. I think if we're really looking at the purpose of this board, we as a commission, we can't focus on education all the time. We have a million other things to focus on. That being said, I think this is a really noble cause and a noble goal and something that we need to address. It impacts every facet of our community. But we need to have an education board that is really capable of helping us, right? Helping us figure out different opportunities, helping us update our strategic plan when we come up with it. All these things, we need a working board. And so I do think that we need to have professionals, and I know it can be tricky to recruit people, but you know, we're lucky that we have a community with a lot of very knowledgeable folks, and there seems to be a lot of interest in this board. I'm relatively confident that we could get professionals that have the credentials that we're seeking on here. And I wouldn't mind having a parent or two on there, but I don't want the board to be like half parents. It's going to go sideways then. You have very passionate individuals when you have parents, but that often can derail a conversation from being productive, unfortunately. So I think a smaller board of frankly, people that are very focused and task-oriented and goal-oriented that can really help us. They can bring to us goals and projects and opportunities. That's what I want to see this board do. You know?
And the impetus behind creating these qualifications, mandatory qualifications, is to move from just a dialogue type forum, just discussing issues, to more of an ad hoc committee where we're doing work. And so we could break out into subcommittees and, you know, really address a lot of these concerns. And the way to do it is to have really high level members on the education board that can create strategic plans that are also decision makers within their space. So that was really the thinking behind creating, you know, some of these new qualifications on the board, just to move the work forward.
And I think that's the correct approach. And if we run into an issue where we just can't get the right people, then maybe we start loosening up the requirements. But I'd like to try that approach. I think that's what we need right now, frankly. But that's really all I got. I really think we're pretty much all on the same page on this stuff. And again, thanks for everyone who's done all this work to make this happen tonight.
Thank you very much. I had put in front of each one of the commissioners the part of the comp plan for economic prosperity and education. The reason being is, you know, this was done in 2019, and Commissioner Long touched on whether or not we need to amend portions of this, because education, kids' access to information, everything has changed since 2019.
Absolutely.
So we need to have, and listen, I'm thrilled we're getting the education board really back up and running, and really going to be creating great input for us, because, you know, as I agree, it's been floundering a bit, and through no fault of anyone, but the time is to really, we need to ignite that again and get it going. We can work on the composition. I think there's a lot of good views of what kind of composition we want. But one of the things we do need to do, and which is why I gave each one of these to you, was so you could read it and see where you still agree, where you disagree, where it can be enhanced. Because, you know, there's a lot of good ideas up here and out there, and I think people should be now reading these things, because apart from educating the children, you know, as a city that's trying to attract new families and attract new businesses, you know, the first thing they look at is what's the quality of the education. So our longevity as a city and our continued prosperity as a city is going to be very dependent on how good our education system and how the perception is of our education system, which, by the way, I understand is a tough task to try to change that perception. So it's something that we're going to do. I think that we've brought up some good ideas about expanded Wi-Fi. I'm curious about one thing, and only because when I do the grading, what percent, and you don't have to tell me now, but you could, you know, somebody can write me back and tell me what I tried to see what all the factors are in related to what causes a school to get a better grade. What I didn't see is the percentage of how much of it that, or how much do scores of those students factor into that? I'm sure they do factor, but what percentage do they factor into the increase in score of a school? Because there's a lot of other elements that are there, the facility, you know, of course, there's a lot of other elements. I just want to know, because to me, the grade of a school is the proficiency of the children that are being graduated from that school. So I just wanted, you know, I'd like to just kind of know that at some point.
I have the information. I'll send it to you.
I think it's there's a lot there. They did have a baseline, right, for about a year or two after COVID, where they didn't look at the standards and learning gains didn't get any credits. But I think learning gains get
No,
credits.
I know, but I'm just
and
asking what percent, what,
proficiency
what,
is
just look
grade-
how that fits in the
grades.
ratio
It
of,
just changed though.
of all the other things. That's all. Anyway, and as I said, I'm going to be sending you out this my revised thing, which includes some, by the way, many of the comments we had up here I've got included in this just as discussion points. These are just discussion points. So anyway, I got 26 things I could say, and I'm not going to say any of them. But I really appreciate you making the great effort, and I'm very happy that the representative of the school board are here to hear some of our, what we're thinking about, what needs to be done. And Mr. Orsi, I appreciated all your input. Mr. City Manager, do we have anything else?
Yes, sir. And the next step of direction in this regard, comprehensively, ladies and gentlemen, involves a formal direction or consideration regarding the Education Board composition. Our interest is to update the City Commission relative to why we are where we are, and I think Ms. Bowen's excellent job as always. Ms. Torres, thank you very much for your involvement as well.
Can we give you that at the next meeting so I can think about it, go back and look at that? Can you send me that slide with the breakdown? I'm sure I'm fine with it. I just want to look at it. There's some people I know that are interested. I just want to see.
And we all
where
need
they
to see the
fall.
proposed ordinance, which we don't have. I mean, I
That's
begged
why
them for,
they're asking for our direction to create the ordinance, I think. Is
right, which is why I'm saying, this is why I took this and started marking it up, so.
Oh, what, I don't know what you have.
No, I
That's-
know, you,
I'm sorry, Lynn.
If I may, ladies and gentlemen, my interest is to maybe have a consideration brought back during one of the regular meetings in November. So that will give you all time to review the material, digest what's been shared in this regard. So to your point, Vice Mayor, about offering direction via the October 15th meeting as a non-agenda
Is that
item
okay?
would be appropriate. And
Did
am
you
I
wanna
missing
add?
something? Okay,
No.
I
Oh,
thought
I
you
was
said
looking at her.
something. Yeah, you
I
were
was-
looking at,
I
so
am
that made
looking
me
at her.
look. Okay, very well. So, fair enough. So a November timeframe would be appropriate. Your two meetings in November are November 4th, Monday, November 19th, Tuesday.
Okay.
So that would be appropriate. So a few words to that effect, as well as an opportunity for you all to think about some of the next steps beyond that in terms of engagement with the school district of Palm Beach County and others relative to specific guidance and direction. So I look forward to that. We'll create that opportunity for October 15th informally so that we can offer formal considerations regarding a first ordinance reading in November. Those would be my thoughts and recommendations.
Great. One point of order, Mr. Chard, I was not trying to cut you off. This is a workshop, and we have different rules for the workshop for speaking. And I was
Are we
trying to
creating
state,
them
now I
now?
understand it's a learning experience for us all, but we do have a set of rules that we're going to try to follow as it relates to public comment and workshops. So, but anyway, your comments were great, and I really appreciate it. As were yours, Mrs. Ridley. Anyway, any other comments from anybody up here? We are adjourned.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.